We are live at CRL360 headquarters for another brilliant episode of the show. And we recorded this a lot later, so we actually don't have as many people on as usual. It's just been usually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Yeah, so we're actually going to get right into things. Now, we're going to start off with looking at all the games we've had over the weekend. Starting us off, what a shocker this game was. The Seagulls defeating the Raiders 36 to 12. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on the game,
yeah,
Jilly?
it was a shocker. A shocker is certainly an understatement, I think. The Raiders kind of came out guns blazing. They scored the first two tries, if I'm not mistaken. Um, the man of the match, Luke Weller, he made a few errors in the opening moments. Three, was it? Was it two or three?
It was two. It was
Two,
two errors.
two. Um, and yeah, the Raiders looked like they were on, but Seagulls came back and scored 36 unanswered points.
Yeah, well, I want to point out something quite funny about this game. So, we don't usually see comebacks on Rugby League Live 4, and this is actually the tied largest ever comeback with 12 points. So, you know, they did, and it took literally like what 20 minutes to take it. Like by halftime, they'll tie it at 12 or weren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, it wasn't very long. Um, the
Yes, I think a lot of the young guns from this year, obviously had Luke Weller, but also Aaron O'Hare stood up. Edwards was brilliant from the back, and yeah, I was really impressed with them overall.
yeah,
Actually, something interesting I just realised now. I believe all three players who got the zero honours points this week from that game actually were all new to the club this season. First game for the club.
yeah, it was because Jesse Rayman got points. He was obviously traded for Ewan Aitken during the off season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, he had a first good outing and ran for over 200 metres, so
yeah,
looking forward to see what he can do. As we move on to our next game here, the Sharks took on the Roosters, defeating them 24 points to 6. What are your thoughts?
well, look, this is one of the two games that I actually didn't see live, but I will talk on the scoreline. Honestly, not too unexpected. The scoreline, I think the Sharks are going to be on this season and a brilliant 13 plus win. I believe it's their first ever 13 plus win.
Yeah, which is
Um,
kind of surprising considering they got to third pick of the finals last season
yeah,
before losing to the Tigers.
yeah. So, uh, yeah, I can't really talk about the individual performances and stuff because I didn't watch it, but no, nothing unexpected in the scoreline.
Yeah, look, what I actually will take my time to take it. So obviously, Roosters started quite fast in this game. Actually, got a try within the first 3 minutes of the game on the quickest try. I think it was actually the quickest try up until it was beaten around later with by the Knights. Interestingly enough, but yeah, for Roosters, they looked good up for early on, but they just started to fall apart. I don't think they're as bad as what the scoreline represents. I honestly think they're probably about 10 points between the team overall, what should have been, but you know, what I do want to bring notice to though was the Sharks forward pack. It was an immense day. Dalfanu can bring up massive numbers. Olaquadu was also really good. All right, so let's move on to the next game then with the Knights defeating the Rabbitohs 30 to 12. It was a big game. Obviously, you didn't see much of this game. Do you want to give your thoughts before I'll give what I think of the game?
Yeah, well, I thought that the Rabbitohs team list last week wasn't quite up to standard. I didn't expect this, especially considering that the Knights had a few players missing. I think obviously the Rabbitohs have changed a lot about their team list this week, so we can't really take this game into much consideration. But Jesus, it's not. It's the Knights did well with so many players missing. So
Yeah, look, the Knights had missing. No, I'm missing Daniel Saifidi. Obviously, he can be an Origin representative. We've seen it in RL. We haven't really seen that much, but he is missing. Toa Harris, a leader of the club. Matt Duffy was set to don the fullback jersey this season. He was missing, but they replaced all three of those players with one man alone, just properly. He was incredible. Three other players. Adakar was amazing on the wing. I really thought that their halves also just really strong. Tor had a strong as always game. So I was
yeah,
very impressed with the Knights.
it's interesting that
Ah,
you mentioned Adokar and Papali'i because they both came from the Raiders.
yeah, yeah, their production line is crazy at the moment. Like, Adaka, obviously he was bought over by the Raiders last season, ended up trading him for Xavier Coates. I don't know if they made the right decision on that, but he was a gold, so they got that off the cap, bit of salary cap space. And Papali also, I believe, is he also a gold? Or is he silver now?
I think Papali'i is a gold. I might be wrong, but I think he is a gold.
We'll say he's a gold for now. Also get a bit of salary cap space for the Raiders. But he was just absolutely elite up the middle.
He was a gold, but he was traded for Jacob Saifidi, who's also a gold. So
right, so it doesn't really matter then. It was just which it'll be interesting to see if they won that trade. That's why I definitely would have thought the Raiders would have won it. But with how that Papali'i went, it's going to be out for the case to be who wins that one. As we'll move on to the next game, and this game was the surprisingly close game of the round. The Panthers got the job done, 16 points to 12, but it wasn't easy, was it?
Yeah, no. The Eels had a lot of fight in them. They came back, though the Panthers. This time managing to complete the comeback. Some players I thought were really good. Scott Drinkwater, he was really impressive at 6. From the Eels, I think Chanel Harris-David. I think their Carbs combo is going to be really good. For the Eels, Stephen Crichton was good as always. For the Panthers, and look, I think it's kind of concerning. It's concerning signs for Panthers, I think. Obviously, a lot of attention's been brought to how the Eels will perform this season. I don't really think it's a good indication of how the Eels will perform. I think it's a better indication of how Panthers will perform. I think that they had a much better team. They should have won this by a lot more. I'm actually kind of concerned about how the Panthers performed in that game. Would have liked to see a bit more from them. But it is what it is.
Look, with the Panthers, I do want to point out that Jerome White got a lot of criticism for the game. However, I'm a bit concerned that he was really only one to brought attack into the Panthers team. He had a couple errors early on, but he set up all 3 of their tries, which is concerning for the Panthers. You're just going to give it to Jerome White for every single play.
Yeah,
and
I think they're very dependent on Luai.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't personally like Luke Brooks as the halfback. I don't think he's the leader. I'd like to see him give Burton a crack, or at some point at least, even if it's not. Obviously, it's not this week. Even if it's not next week, at some point, I'd like to see Burton get a crack. I think a few of their forwards need to stand up. Obviously, Fafita went back to brilliant form on the week. I can't knock his performance. He was amazing. One of the best players. But I'd like to see maybe I don't know. I think maybe Connor Matungi. Obviously, a bit of a quiet performance. Would like to see him play more. Isaiah Yo is another one. Needs to do more.
Well, yeah, Isaiah was one of the worst locks last season, so he's been kind of underwhelming so far.
Yeah. Utoikamanu was even quiet, and we usually expect massive performance from him, but he didn't do much. And it's concerning to us for Penrith early if they can't get into any form. But they won, and I guess it's on to next week from here. As we move on to the final game of the round, the Cowboys, your own team, Chile, took down the Broncos in a massive performance, a big statement, 28-6. What are you feeling, Chile? How's the feeling around camp at the moment?
Oh, look, I was talking about it post game off air to you and to the Sharks coach Liam Ryan. I think it was Liam at least. It might not have been. But I was very impressed with that performance. I think it's the most impressed I've been with the CRL performance. Obviously coaching Manly last season. I was happy with pretty much every aspect of our game. I thought that we showed some real spark on the edges in Alofina. Obviously, he was man of the match and phenomenal. But even Val Holmes had a few deadly moments. He didn't get the ball much, so it's not overly worrying that he didn't do all that much, because when he got the ball, he felt like he did a fair amount, looked dangerous. The halves were not quite up to standard. I would like to see Cleary find a little bit of form. Obviously, Carl isn't playing this week. Moses coming in. I thought the forwards were good. The bench was good. Overall, pretty impressed with that performance. And on the Broncos, I think this week's team list is kind of a step back. I think that they just panicked with their selection this week. I don't think they needed to change much. And after that first game, I'd be a bit worried about the Broncos for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, you talk about Valentine's being quiet. You don't need him to be do anything when you got Alafina Card Ferreira on the other week. Holy hell!
Yeah.
3 tries he scored on his debut. I want to point out we haven't had more than 3 tries in a CRL, so he's just equaled the record in his debut game. Like, it was going to shut him down. No, Eels. Do not kick to Khan Pereira. He will eat you up and chew you out.
Well, look, even if they don't kick to Pereira, I'd be pretty happy with them kicking to Holmes. He's a really quality player too, so.
Dude, you got a hammer in the middle. Holy hell, you're back for a fire.
And Saab's on the sideline too, so.
Oh my god. You surely have to find a spot for Saab somewhere in the team.
Wink wink round 3?
It's crazy to think. Huh?
Wink wink round 3?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see for that. I do want to bring up the Broncos for a second though. I'm worried about them, to be honest. It wasn't great. You know, I'm lost for words. I do think they panicked a bit. I don't like Walsh in the halves, but last time we said they panicked after round one it was, they went out and upset the favourites. So, which were the Sharks at the time, 28-10, which was a big scoreline.
Yeah.
Against a team that no one gave a chance. Well, the Broncos, no one gave the Broncos a chance. So this week, obviously, we're versing a much easier opponent, in my opinion, than what they faced last week. So maybe it will prove us wrong, but
yeah,
it is worrying signs early.
I think the Rabbitohs are going to... we'll touch on it a bit later, but I think the Rabbitohs will come out swinging next week. So it could be bad for the Broncos early on.
Yeah, I am. I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried because look, I like what the Broncos have. I just don't like the chopping and changing, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind Stags back in the center either, but I would have liked to see him stick for another round of Stags at second row, maybe even start him, give him a chance starting because it was pretty good last. I think he did play one game in second row last year.
Yes, maybe 2 actually, maybe even 2.
Well, I think any game that he did play, I remember I was praising him because it was really good center, second row, and they won both his last 2 games. So yeah.
Look, I think the Broncos just have to pick and stick, and I think that it'll be good if they pick and stick. I like though. What I will say is I like Herbie playing on the wing now. I do like that.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I think he's has a bit of X factor to him, especially kick returns. Looking forward to see what he can do.
Yeah.
As it's time to move on to my favorite part of the show, the power rankings, where we basically either make everyone's dreams or break everyone's hearts. Isn't it? That's how it works at the moment, isn't it, Chili?
Yeah.
If your team's low, you hate us. If your team's high, you don't give us any credit because your team should be high according to you. I guess it's time now. I swear this is a bias. I approved this power ranking before it happened. We had Liam Ryan, the Sharks coach, approve it, so this is not biased. But the first place on the power rankings is the fact the Cowboys, and I think that's fair enough.
No, it's fully biased. It's full bias. Come on.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yep. Jilly made us do this. He's actually holding me arrested right now under house arrest, and I was forced to do this if I want to leave. So, yeah. But we've briefly touched on it before. Yeah, they're doing great, aren't they, the Cowboys?
Yeah, I won't harp on about it too much. I gave my team a lot of praise. I'm curious what you think, though.
Yeah, I think they're brilliant. I would like to see a bit more. I'm interested to see what Moses adds to the team this week.
Yeah.
Obviously he was missing, suspended round 1 after a high tackle at the end of last season, missed the last 2 games, or might have been just last game of last season, and obviously has to miss a game here. I really like their their forward pack. I just quickly go up the team list real quick. I did have a point I wanted to bring up. Yeah, I also liked. I actually like the fact that they stuck with it. Their team was, which is something we don't really usually see from Cowboys coach Dewey, Jilly.
Hey, I stick to my team list. I stick to my team
always.
list.
Always,
This
always.
actually, I'm actually not certain about this. This may be the first time that I've done a no unforced change. Obviously, Moses coming back in, but
I think it is the only first unforced change team that you ever named.
I genuinely think it is. So, and we saw what that did for the Tigers last year, or last season. So, just trying to get a bit of consistency in the boys, and hopefully they'll back it up again this week.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, as we move on to the second team on the power ranking, we have the Panthers. Now, they are second. They could have potentially dropped the third, in my opinion,
Yeah.
but I gave the benefit of the doubt after what they did last season. That they'll bring about up.
Look, at the moment, I think that you can't understate the Panthers. I think that they're an incredible side. I think. Look, I'm just a little nervous about the Panthers. I think that they didn't perform very well against the Eels. I think that the Eels performed well, although I don't think they. I think if that had been against a side like the Sharks or the Cowboys, that would not have been fun for the Panthers. Um, Look, I'm just a little worried. I think that they deserve to be second now, and look, I hope they prove me wrong, but who have they got this week?
They've got the Roosters, so
Yeah, okay.
they should win that game. Which I will say, the Panthers have a very easy draw early. Eels and Roosters. I mean, Eels gave them for a run for their money this week, and I think the Eels are a better team than the Roosters. So, you know,
They should win this week.
they should win this week. Yeah. As we move on to the third team in our power rankings, the Cronulla Sharks. No real surprises there.
Oh no, the Sharks are they're a really quality outfit. Really quality.
With the Sharks, I think they have such spark. The only problem I have with them at the moment, and this is where I've been improving last season, I'm struggling to see where the improvement comes from. All the changes they made, they didn't like improve the line. Any trades they made, they'll just one-on-one swaps. I think the only real improvement is Olakwadu, which I'm interested in what he adds. I am concerned that the Sharks are just going to do fast with three again.
Look, my concern, I like their
That's-
forward pack. I think their forward pack is phenomenal. I think their forward pack is really solid. Where I see the problem is their back three, or their back five even. Pappenhausen, quality, right? Other than that, Talangi, Suwali, Kennedy, and Garrick. Garrick had a mediocre season. Will Kennedy was good, but he's playing in the centers. And then Suwali and Talangi, they're nothing special. So I think if you look at some of the teams that are doing really well right now, their back five are phenomenal. I mean,
That's just a change for the Sharks.
Pardon?
Well, what about sending Will Kennedy to wing and moving Garrick to the centers?
I actually wouldn't. Actually, if that were to happen, I would want to move Kennedy to Talangi's wing. I think that.
And what move Talangi to the centers?
Or just completely drop him and put maybe someone else in there. I don't know, but I just don't think that. I think Kennedy would be a good winger. Don't want to drop Garrett because I think he's one of the better outside backs they have.
Yeah, I agree. But if they drop Talangi and get Kennedy to the center wing, right? Who do they have to bring up? I don't think there's really anyone else is there.
I think there is. I think they do have other players. I can check.
Not only of quality though, surely, right? Yeah, quickly.
They could put Tago in there.
I disagree. I think Tago needs to come off the bench and play second round.
I think Bailey Hodgson could be a good shot.
Ooh, no, but I think that could be bad for his development. I'd like to see. I think if Bailey Hodgson comes to the team, he needs to be playing wing.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
So to be honest, I think it'd be better if you'd even move Garrick to the centers since he's not doing much on the wing either, and he might have more chance to improve like his overall if you move to the centers.
Yeah.
Or I guess move Talangi there, but I'd rather see Garrick on the centers and then move Talangi out to the wing.
Yeah. I could see it. I don't think he'll mess with that too much, but
I actually believe Kennedy played fullback in the last season, didn't he, for one game? I think that was probably the best game he played all season.
So he had a pretty good game. He had a pretty good game against the Knights.
Other than that game, but he made like a ridiculous amount of line breaks for a center. Other than that game, the fullback game he played last season was pretty good. And fullback and wings, other than like the obviously fullback tracks the ball more, but his biggest thing I thought was kick returns. And I think he needs kick returns. He needs to play wing to get any kick returns. So I'd like to see that being a big change. But Other than that, my only concern with the Sharks is I feel like they're heading for another finals week 3 elimination.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that
I
again.
don't think
I want
they've
to see them. I want to see them go more further.
I don't think they've gone to the next level. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, but they're staying. They're staying like that's what I'm looking for. Because I think at the moment we're heading towards a. I think Cowboys will be there. I think Panthers will still be there. I think Raiders. Obviously they lost round one, but I think Raiders will still be there. That's 3 teams. Shucking the Sharks. That's 4. I don't know. I don't know if
Honestly,
the Sharks have enough to get to finals, well, grand final this year, which is the problem
yeah.
for me. And to move on to the next team, the power rankings. Now, this team possibly considered a little high, but considering we were having him first in the off season, I think it's fair to drop him to this low. We have the Raiders in 4th. We have thoughts on the Raiders at the moment.
I'm shocked, honestly. I thought they were gonna win in an absolute landslide against the Seagulls, and they just didn't. They showed up for the first 20 minutes and then disappeared.
What do you think the problem is them?
Oh, I don't know, because I don't think there is a problem. Genuinely, there's nothing really. Their team should be winning, and winning by a lot. I just don't know. They've got what have they changed this week? They've got CNK. So they've started Savage now. And they're not taking him off. They've got Willie Warb. Oh no, they are. They're taking. Oh, okay, I don't like that. So they've got both their centers coming off at halftime. So Savage and CNK will come back on at prop, which will be interesting. Look, I don't like that. They've got Talakai to prop, which is, I think that's a good play. He obviously didn't do too much in the centers, and I just don't know what's wrong with him.
I actually don't mind the Savage taking off an half-time thing. And I'll explain why for a second. It may seem weird, but Savage, his best game played all last season was when he scored a double at centre last season. I think he could be a brilliant centre in this competition. He's quick. All it was was about 50 minutes out, he broke into space, and then he just ran straight past the fullback because of his blinding pace. Right?
Yeah.
He's so quick. Right? I genuinely think him coming off a wing will centre, right? Remember, he'll come back on a prop. There was times last season, right, where he was taken off. He'd come back on a prop, and he'd just make line breaks because he'd be so quick he'd just sprint up the middle and get through.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind it, to be honest. Who they're pulling him off for? That's a big question.
Pardon?
Who they're pulling him off for, though? That's a big question. I actually don't know.
Tomoko and Will Warbrick. So CNK and Savage are both coming off at halftime for Will Warbrick and Matt Tomoko.
I don't know if it should have been Tomoko. I would have liked to see Sebastian Chris get a go.
Yeah, I agree that.
Yeah, I think about 82 rated.
Seb Chris is the better player.
I think Tomoko's only like a 79. So I would have liked to see, if they're going to do anyone, I would have liked to see it be Sebastian Chris. Another thing I want to say is, some players who would have worked great last season didn't stand up. The only one that was like an outstanding player last season that stood up was Tamalolo. He was probably close to. He was the Raiders' best player, flat out. That's undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
But Turbo, who had an amazing of last season, made one line break and gained 80 of his 110 meters or something like that. Maybe like 75 of his 110 meters from the one line break. Take away that, he gained about 35 or so meters executing that line break. That is horrible for a fullback.
Yeah, that's not great. Can't lie.
Rapida was one of the best wingers last year. Did he get winger of the year? He would have been close at least, wasn't it? No, it was DWZ Star. He was close, but he was nominated for winger of the year. He was pretty quiet. Whiten had a horrible game. He made a few errors. Walker did nothing. I think that forward pack was soft other than Tamalolo. And it is. I think it was concerning.
Yeah, I agree.
And our next team in the power rankings is the Tigers. Now, quick thing in the thing. Tigers actually just released the team list live, so we're actually gonna be reacting to it now. We actually haven't had a proper look at it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be an interesting experience. Do you want to give your thoughts first?
Yeah, sure. I've had a quick glance over it. There's a few problems I have with it. There's nothing that I like about it. I'll just say that straight out. Look, it's not the greatest. Obviously, their centers being Nikau Arateri and Christian Crichton. They're both rookies. Who do they usually have there? I think it's Roberts and Gilda. Definitely a downgrade.
I actually think Oliver Gill and Roberts were probably one of the better set of conversations last year
Yeah. No Hastings in the team
at
entirely.
all. Wow, that's and
I
he was
think that may be an upgrade though, because Reese Robson rating wise is better. I would like to see him be like a utility
that.
maybe.
Are they not the same?
No,
Is
no, no,
Hastings
no,
an
no, no.
83, isn't he?
Hastings is an 81, I think. He's low.
Oh, oh, he went down because of Hooker change, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So he is a. I can tell you right now. I've got the stat sheet up in front of me. He is an 82, sorry, and Robson's an 83. So it's not that big of
Okay.
a difference, but I think I would have liked to see him start with Hastings, simply because of how good he was last year. Uh, you look at the rest of the team. I mean, Adam Elliott. I think he's an 80
Well,
rated.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't. I also don't think, to be honest, I actually don't. I think their bench is really weak.
here's something.
To be honest, and I think their forward pack, especially that there's one particular player, Adam Elliott, is he not a rookie? He's a rookie,
He's
isn't
a
he? 80
rookie. Yeah.
rated.
Here's
I
something.
think
Here's something
I don't
interesting.
get why he's in the team.
Here's
Who
something
are they
interesting.
missing? There's players they're missing.
There's
That lineup
one.
looks
There's
really
one specific player they're missing.
who?
So during the offseason, Tigers traded Stefano Utekamanu, their best
Oh my
player,
god,
for
that's
Spencer
right.
Lenu.
I
Spencer
am.
Lenu is not in this team.
Wait. Oh wait, no, he is number 8.
Oh, sorry, he is. Yeah, okay. I didn't notice. Sorry.
No, I'm thinking, is there not a second role they should have in their team?
Musgrove's in there, I think. Oh, I tell you what, it's offhand Gowie. That's what's missing. But
That's who was.
Tukey
Oh,
Simpkins is actually better than
yeah,
offhand
okay.
Gowie.
Well, surely this. I'd probably be starting Simpkin over Adam Elliott though, right? He's an 81, isn't he?
Yeah, Simpkins is
Simpkin.
an 81. Yeah,
Yeah, and then what rating's Gardner?
82, I think.
Yeah, why are they starting Adam Elliott? Luke Gardner should be starting.
Luke Gunner. Yeah, Luke Gunner's an
I
82.
am. I'm actually really concerned. They're playing all their rookies, and then they're
No,
playing
they're not
one of
playing
their credit
Bendover.
players.
They're not playing Bendover, who
Right,
is a creative player, but he's still a rookie.
right. Can I make a suggestion for Hastings? I
Pardon?
wouldn't mind maybe playing Hastings in maybe even like in the back row
Yeah, it could be
because
interesting.
he's played lock before.
Yeah.
He played hooker and did pretty well. Playing him in the back row of centers, I'd probably go back row though in the second row, and then obviously I just drop Adam Elliott completely out of the team.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Look, we haven't seen anything from them. I think fifth on the power rankings is fair. But I will say that I am very concerned for them.
Yeah, this week could be messy.
It just obviously last year didn't look a good lineup. If we knew nothing about them, they'd be easy wooden spooners.
Yeah,
But based on what we
the
knew
thing
last
is,
season,
the
no
thing
one's
is
going
though,
to do that.
the thing is though, this team looks even worse than it did last year.
It does look worse.
So
It looks even worse.
surely they cannot do better than they did last year. They don't have
Yeah,
Roberts
I
in
agree
it.
with that.
They don't have Roberts. They don't have Gildart. They don't have offhand Gowie, who was one of the best props
They don't have
for them.
Kamanu.
They don't have Utekamanu. They don't have Hastings. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just interesting. It's an interesting lineup. I think that this season isn't going to be as nice to them.
Yeah, as lucky as to them as it was last season.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way. I'm burning some bridges there by saying they were lucky last season, but being realistic,
I think as we saw with, and I'm going to draw a parallel to IRL, with the Cowboys in 2017. They got smashed in the grand final. I think they're going to burn out from now. I think they will finish very close to the bottom of the table this year. But
ooh, big call.
yeah,
Big call.
I'm gonna call.
I don't know
I'm
if I
gonna
can
say
get
that.
very close.
I'm
I
gonna
can see
say
missing
that.
the 5 though. I can see missing the 5.
Yeah,
And I think fifth is fair because they haven't played yet, and I probably have them around there at the beginning of the season. So let's move on to our sixth team on the power rankings. And I know some people are going to be very mad they're only this low considering how good they did round 1. But I think this is fair considering what we expected of them, like early season or before the season started with the Eagles in 6. Thoughts?
yeah, they were phenomenal. I did not expect it. at all. I think that the players that we had major problems with really shine through. We even criticized the Dylan Edwards Hamaso trade. I mean, Dylan Edwards was probably close to their best player.
If it wasn't for Luke Weller, he would have been.
Yeah, Luke Weller was phenomenal. Aaron here was really good. Jesse Ramian, we criticized that too. Jesse Ramian UNA trade, he was phenomenal. I think that pretty much every facet that we criticized them for, they performed. I'm a little worried that it may have been a fluke, but at the moment I'll say it wasn't, and I'll say that they will be doing very well, and it's good to see them performing well.
On the fluke department, right? Last year, we kept saying, "Oh, the Tigers just a fluke. It's just a fluke. We'll stop eventually."
Yeah.
And they made it to the grand final.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the team was going down the same path, but I can't call anything a fluke now. I have to go. That was an amazing performance. I should expect better from now on. I should expect that from now on.
Yeah.
And I'll say probably the only team that had really a fluky performance overall the entire season is probably the Broncos against the Sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, they beat the Rabbitohs. Everyone on like a 5-game losing streak until like round 8, or like a 4-game losing streak or something. So, yeah. It's like, so I'd probably say that was the only fluky type performance all season last year that I can really think of. So, yeah. I'm interested to see how they go. Obviously, we have a bye this week, actually. So it's actually going to be next week. We'll have to have a look at how they go. As we move on to the 7th team on the power rankings, and again, I don't think you can argue any higher. Finish the highest you can put them. We have the Knights.
Yeah. They were they were good. They were good. Interested to see how they go for the rest of the season. I think that they had a pretty easy opponent.
It was easy.
Yeah. To be fair though, they did have a lot of players missing. So, look, I don't know where Dufty comes back in because I really don't see Toto being moved from that number 1. I think if he is moved from that number 1, I think there's problems.
Who are their wingers? They have Adhikar and who? Who's the other winger?
Adhikar and I'm actually not sure who the other one is. It is Nick Kotrick.
Maybe move Nick Kotrick to the center and chuck Dufty on the wing.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing Dufty play centers. They've got Tuala and Brian Kelly in there right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I said that pre-season, but like I'm thinking kick returns. I thought Dufty could do quite better than that.
Although Kotrick was pretty good in his kick returns last season.
He was. I already didn't notice him that much last season, to be honest.
His kick returns are pretty good. It's just the rest of his game that wasn't great.
It was just everything in between.
Yeah.
As we move on to the 8th team, and again, I know I'm going to have some angry Eels fans who are going to put them 8th after going so close to the Panthers, but I think 8th is fair enough for the moment. They did still lose.
Look, I'll say it. I said it earlier in the show. I think that it's more of a sign of how Penrith are going to go than it is the Eels. I still have them around about the same. I think they'll do pretty well, the Eels, but I don't think they'll do anything special this season, unfortunately.
Look, I will say I was really impressed with their spine in general. It was amazing. Obviously, Reed Marnie got all the credits. 3 points on the CRL honours. He was amazing out dummy half. We had Drinkwater, obviously, probably would have got 5 of the week if it was for Luke Weller. I've just spoiled that. Just ignore that for now. We'll get. I mean, it's not really surprising, to be fair.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have Harris Vita played an amazing game. I think he was sort of turned into a leader at the club, isn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's probably one of their most solid players over the last season and the start of this season as well. So he's been really good.
And then I also want to point out the unsung hero for the Eels, Clint Gutherson. He had a really underrated end of last season, and towards the end of last season, was close to one of their best players. Obviously, probably behind Nelson. And it sort of was like when Nelson sort of started to open up, Clint Gutherson started to find a lot more space, and he was very good, very, very good against the Panthers again. And I'm really looking forward to see what he does this season. And I think their spine in general is just controlling the game to a T right now. But the problem is, I think it's their forwards actually. I know last week I said I have a problem with them not having a single spine player being in gold. But after this week, my problem is going back. their forwards are a bit weak, and even their gold forwards haven't done much, probably other than Papali'i. That's my only problem with them at the moment, and their back line. They're back 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Look, I think that I'm not too impressed with this one. I think Drinkwater can do enough. Harris DeVito's been really good. I like that combo. I think it's better than Moses Brown, to be honest. However, I think that I preach this constantly. I think that the back three, 1, 2, and 5, are really damn important. Like, really important. I mean, the back 1, 2, and 5 basically carried Manly to the finals. Look, I think I don't think it's high enough. I don't think it's at a good enough standard. They're back 1, 2, 5. Would like to see it to be better. That's my problem with the team. I think their forwards are fine. I think their spine is mostly fine. Just would like to see them have a better department there.
So who's the wingers at the moment, actually? Because I think Cook Gunston's actually really good for them. I think it's just their wingers.
Look, I don't think Gutherson's been that amazing, to be honest.
I think he's actually really underrated. That's my opinion. I mean, that's just what I think at least. But who are the wingers at the moment?
It's Gagai and Sevo. I think Sevo's too slow, to be honest.
Sevo hasn't done much, and neither has Gagai, to be honest. I think that's the biggest issue. Their wingers, sorry.
I'd like to see. We laughed at NSL for this earlier, but I would actually like to see Wonga Blake move to wing.
The problem is though he was so good. He started last season at wing, went to the centers. It was by far the best center last season.
Yeah, true.
But it's kind of hard to predict how that would go. What's that? Yeah, don't really have much else to be honest. I guess unless they move on to maybe Steve over to the centers. To be honest, he's a bit slow, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Sivo's a bit too slow to be that winger. They need someone quick. Actually, wouldn't mind seeing Montoya move there, to be honst. Swap Sivo and Montoya.
Swap Sivo and Montoya. Have Sivo go in the centers. Another thing I want to point out is I think obviously I think Cam McGill and Paul are ready to step up this season. To be honest, it's just not good enough at the moment. I'm a bit concerned about them. They haven't been great ever. And I think they need to step up this season.
I think that's a fair call. I think I'd like to see NSL get rid of all three of them, to be honest. Maybe Papali'i stays, but I think Paulo and Gillard are a waste of space.
I think he's one of the best second rows in the comp behind probably Fafita and Sims.
I think they're just taking up salary cap space, Paulo and Campbell Gillard.
I agree. I think they've been below par for gold, at least.
Yep.
As we move on to the ninth team in the power rankings, I think this is where we sort of distinguish the teams that can see compete to the teams that I think need to step up their game massively. We have ninth, we have the Broncos. Could be lower, but we put them at ninth.
Look, I'm gonna go against you because I actually looked at this earlier and I went, you know, this power rankings, this part of the power rankings is wrong. I'd like to see us switch 9th and 11th, to be honest. I think that this team the Broncos have been. Sorry, Wombat. I know you're watching this. I don't think the Broncos have been at a good standard at the moment. I don't see where the improvement is.
I think at the moment, based on what we saw last week, the Rabbitohs were pretty piss poor against the Knights team that had.
Yeah, but look, I think you got to remember though that Knights Rabbitohs team. No Cody Walker, no Damien Cook.
That wasn't like injuries though. That was the coach
their choice.
Not naming them.
They've named them this week.
I know they've named them this week. We can't base it off that. We don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I still think that they've named Tupanua again. They've got Sims starting. I think that this team isn't. I said it before. I think they're a competitor. The Rabbits. Their team was off last week.
They named their full strength lineup week 1. Like they had Kenny and Sean O'Sullivan. Sean O'Sullivan did what he could do, but he wasn't Cody Walker style. You saw last season Cody Walker ran for 200 and something meters one game.
Yeah.
Had 2 tries.
Yeah. To be fair, both of those were interception of errors.
That is true, but like that is true. I was thinking that when I said it. But
anyway, Broncos. I would like to. I think the Broncos are very close. I think that they are very close. I like a lot of the changes they've done this week. I think Stags back to the center is a nice choice. I don't think the experiment worked at second row. Herbie Farnworth, I
What? I
preach
don't
this
get what, like,
constantly.
sorry
Herbie,
to, sorry to cut you off here with Stags. Like, I think it needs time. You saw Jesse Ramian. Jesse Ramian when he first moved to second row was pretty bad.
I
He
think
wasn't
no, I think Ramian
he
has been.
wasn't
I think
terrible.
Ramian was pretty good last season.
He was pretty bad up until like the last couple of rounds. I thought he didn't do it. I didn't even notice him in the second round until like he gained 200 meters. I
Ewan
think it needs
Aitken was
time.
an instant success. I think that if you're gonna have
I
someone
think
good there,
even you and Aiken took a couple of weeks to warm up.
you reckon?
It worked. Yeah, I think maybe like I think I was definitely a lot quicker than Ramian, but I think at the first round he was a bit and after that he sort of took off. But I think it goes back to the same thing. We'll talk about this more with the Rabbitohs, but I think all of them switched in too early back to the centers if they're
Oh
going to
yes,
trial it.
I do think that was early. However,
And I think Stags played good last season at the second row. I think they should have at least given him one more week, at least. But I think two, but at least one more week. But that's my thoughts.
I think that Herbie Farnworth to 2 was great. I mentioned it earlier. I think really smart choice there from the Broncos. However, I'd like to see Talau move into the centers rather than Cobbo. I think Cobbo is it's too big of an asset. Although, actually, no, I take that back. Talau was too good. Talau was deadly. I think no, I take that back. Talau is the better choice. That was an instant change of opinion.
Wait, is Talau not playing?
No, Talau was playing.
Or is he playing?
Yeah, 5, where he was last week.
Okay,
I was saying that I'd like to see Talau and Cobbo swap, but I changed my mind. I don't want them to swap, no.
Talau's been really good on the wing.
Secondly, something I don't like is Walsh and Milford swapping. I mean, we mentioned it last season. I think he just needs to pick a spine and stick to it.
Yeah.
But I think give it 1 week, trial it. If he's gonna go with this though, stick with it.
Look, I think there's one key player missing. Where the fuck is AJ Brimson?
No.
You
Shut up.
entire tips.
Nah.
At least in the centers, come on. At least in the centers. If he's not played forward, at least in the centers.
No, I don't think Brimson should be in this team. Someone I do think should be in the team though is Kurt Mann. I think why is Jake Turpin playing?
Wait. Yeah, why is Jake Turpin playing?
I think Kurt Mann should be playing.
Yeah, they're in a mess at the moment, Broncos. I think they can pick it up though.
Yeah, I do think that if they get their selection right, which it's not too much, I think that they will do well. I just think they're in a bit of a shambles at the moment.
Yeah.
It'll be very important. I think this is a winnable game. I think the Rabbitohs will win it, but I think it'll be close. I think they need to do well this week.
Yeah, I agree. We'll quickly move on to the Roosters next. And to be honest, I could see us swap. We probably should have swapped the Roosters and the Broncos, to be honest. I think it's just the Broncos. Roosters don't have a very good team, but they played a lot hard against the Sharks, didn't they?
Oh, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
They played alright, so half time was actually only 12-6, and they were playing very well. They had a lot of early ball that they didn't score. The Sharks defense held them out. I think if they're versing a lot of other teams, I think if they're versing Penrith last week, I don't know if they're versing Penrith this week, if they're versing Penrith last week, they gave Penrith a good run for them, just like the Eels did. Who knows, maybe even an opposite potentially. That's how good they were playing. I think it's just the Sharks are just at next level this season.
Look, I had one problem with the Roosters team list in round 1, and that was DeMarcus Cousins playing 9 rather than Blake Brayley. They fixed that.
He couldn't play.
Brayley's playing 9, so
he couldn't play last week because Sharks. They were versing Sharks.
Oh, they were versing the Sharks. Okay.
Yeah. So he literally couldn't play.
Oh, fair enough then. Well, there we go. So I think it's a perfect team list. I think I just don't think it's good enough. So I don't know. I think it'll be tough for them to do well this season. I don't think they have the skill
that's the problem. Look, I actually think I said this last week. I think Roosters were one of the only teams that named the team list where I looked at it and thought, that's their best lineup.
Yep.
That is the lineup I would name in this situation. And I think the problem is they just don't have the players. But I'm interested to see how they go later on. Obviously, versus Penrith this week. I think it'll be going closer than a lot of people think. I don't know how close. Let's go on to the 11th team on the power ranking. Someone else I think they should be 11th. I think it's fair enough considering how they performed week one against a very poor Knights team. Well, the Knights weren't poor, but it wasn't a great Knights team. The Rabbitohs.
Yeah, look, I think that this is too low, to be honest. I think the Rabbitohs.
No shot. They lost to a Knights team which had
Yeah,
three
look,
suspensions to key players.
the power rankings should be more on all their form though. I think that it's 1 week that was a blip, and I get that it's round one and you want to come out the blocks firing, but I think if they name the team list they did this week, they win in a landslide. I'm sorry, but they just do. Yeah.
This is where I disagree. Because you got to remember, right? I know in real life they're great players, but even so, Cody Walker had one good game last season, and the rest were pretty bad. And as you said, those 2 tries were intercept tries.
Yeah.
Right? As you said, Damien Cook had no good games. I don't think he even had any solid games. I don't even notice him last season. And although I think there are slightly improvement on Damien Cook and Sean O'Sullivan. I'm not David Cook, Mitch Kenny and Sean O'Sullivan. Mitch Kenny didn't do nothing like David Cook did. And I actually think Sean O'Sullivan was one of the better Rabbitohs players. He set up a try, he ran pretty well. He's one of the better Rabbitohs players.
Honestly, I think this is a
So I don't think
this is a situation where I think
bigger changes. I'll stand by this.
Right.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I think this is a situation where I think their team only has one change I'd make. And I'd swap. So Talatau Moan's been moved to prop bench. I'd have Talatau Moan playing 17 and prop Ray Stone at 14. Other than that, I think this is a perfect lineup. They're starting Sims. They've got Tupanua in the team. They've got Damien Cook. They've got Cody Walker. I think Dean Iramia playing is an amazing pick. I would like to see Dean Iramia play on the wing though. He's a very, very quick player. We saw that in the Nines. I think this is just a really good team, and I think it'll do well this week against the Broncos.
Here's where I want to say a few things. All right, so with the Rabbitohs, right? I still think that if they were ever going to try all of them at second row, which looking at they probably don't need to. They have tons of second rowers, right? I don't think they should have just done a one game quarter quits because he didn't play amazing.
I'll agree with that.
And to be honest, they probably don't need to play second row. Like the other teams, they didn't really have too many great second rows. Like Seagulls didn't really. They kept stopping to change. Ulaka was one they could stick with. Same with the Sharks. They didn't really. Who else? They had kick out, but Jesse Raymond ended up working out for them. But they have like Rabbitohs have like Tupanua, Tarek Sims. Obviously, I think those two have to be the starting ones. Who else did they got? They got a few others, don't they? They got like Talsal Modi can slot in there. Ray Stone can play there. I just think that they didn't really. I think I know it was us that sort of gave him the idea, but when they obviously had Tupanua, they didn't really need to when they signed him.
Yeah.
If they hadn't signed him, I would have thought it would have been the best move. But I think Tupanua has to start over him because he's a great player.
No, I actually do think Tupanua. I think Tupanua is a good signing. I genuinely do. I think Tupanua.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a good signing. But I think if he's going to sign him, he doesn't need to put Olam at the second row, is what I'm saying.
Wouldn't mind.
Or if they didn't sign him, I think that's when you put him in the second row.
I wouldn't mind seeing Olam continue to play 12 and have Tupanua off the bench.
Yeah, maybe. But then again, I don't know if you get enough minutes out of Olam. I guess you could pull Olam off and he play pro. I don't know. I think he'd do decent at prop, wouldn't he? He's pretty big.
Yeah.
He's a powerful runner. I guess that's the end of the power rankings then. It's time to move on to our team of the week. I guess let's go with it. At fullback, we have Dylan Edwards. Do you want to give a quick thoughts on him?
Yeah, sure. He was really good. I think that if he was probably one of I mentioned it earlier. He was probably one of Manly's best players. If it wasn't for Luke Weller, he's man of the match. Scored 2 tries, I think.
Yeah, got a double. He nearly got a hat trick at the end there, but was pushed on his back.
Yeah. So yeah, Dylan Edwards was just really solid, really good fullback. Turbo who?
Yeah, that's literally what it is at the moment. I don't get it. Turbo's just. You anything another week? We'll talk about it. We don't need to talk about it right now. as we go on to our wingers, and no surprise who it is. Both ran for over 200 meters. Alefina Campero and Josh Adokar both playing incredible today.
Yeah, I'm in love with Alefina. And I kind of squinted my eyes at
And who's the other
the
guy?
uh, I kind of squinted my eyes at the Josh Adokar thing, but I think that at the end of the day, Knights win that easy. I reckon. They got some two really good quality players that are in this lineup. So yeah.
Yeah. So go on to the centers. We have Patrick Herbert and Peter Hickey again. They didn't really do too much, but we didn't really have anyone else, did we?
Yeah, well, Patrick Herbert scored a try, and Hiku was just overall solid. He made 2 line breaks that I can remember. Ran for quite a few meters, and
It was only 50 something,
50 something.
I think. Yeah, I
I
think it
feel
was
like
only
that's
50
wrong.
something.
I feel that's wrong. I'll check.
I don't know. I feel
but,
like that's what I remember in my head. But
he ran for
I'm looking at the Broncos
50
lineup.
something.
54, yeah,
Yeah.
5 runs. To be fair, he did 5 runs, and 2 of those were line breaks, so it wasn't the worst game in the world.
It's not much you can do about centers. They're not the greatest.
Yeah, they don't do much. What I will say though is they had incredible trial form, so please show something, Peter Hickey. Like please. As we move on to our 5'8" here, I spoiled it earlier, but was anyone surprised that it was Luke Weller?
No.
No one. That's right, no one was surprised because oh my god. Okay, so early game, right? I was thinking, what the hell? This is an awful decision. He's choking like crazy. He looks like he doesn't even know how to pass the ball. He made 2 errors in like the first 15 minutes or something. One of them, a couple plays later, led to a try by the Raiders. The other one was when they were attacking their line on second tackle or something. And then out of nowhere, he just decides, I'm getting back into it. He kicked really well. He ran really well, and it was a solid performance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As we move on to our halfback of the week, Harris DeVita, and
Yeah. Well, Harris DeVito probably some of the main reason that Eels did so well. He was really good. Him and Drinkwater, I think it's a phenomenal pairing. To be honest, I think they're really good.
yeah, I have to agree with that. As we go on to our props of the week, no surprises, probably if Fanuc both played incredible games today.
Yeah. I think that Papa was a really good pickup from the Knights, and Finucane was really solid as well.
Yep. Yeah, probably the year last year. No surprises that he's still leading his team out there. As we move on to our hooker of the week, Reed Marnie. Aaron he might feel robbed, but he was still Reed Marnie was incredible for the Eels.
Easily their best player, easily. And he missed a few tackles, unfortunately.
I don't know how we put him in if he missed 2 tackles. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, come on, Reed. Got to be better than that.
Obviously,
he got all his he got through quite a few games last year without missing any tackles, but he ended that streak pretty early on.
Sad to see for Reed, isn't it? As we move on to our second roles of the week, one particular player named David Feeder might be robbed, but it's hard to go past Hamali Olakuwatu and Jesse Ramey. Crazy to think they could have both been at the Sharks this week.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy to think that Hamali Olakuwatu didn't have a club last season.
I know.
Which may have been my fault, but still. Yeah, he was just. I'm excited to see how Olakuwatu goes for the rest of the season. I think it'll be scary. I think he'll play really well.
Yeah, it's gonna be scary. He's done a really good start to the season, and I'm looking forward to see how it goes. And our lock of the week, obviously, it's continuing on the trend that the locks for the worst teams tend to do better. Jess Tabalolo, obviously the Raiders got smashed, but he made 4 line breaks and 5 tack breaks, or something ridiculous. So he was very good.
Yeah, Tamalolo, he's so good. He just can't seem to have a bad game. Tamalolo, really solid.
Yeah, look, I think he's a massive smoky for player of the year at the end of the year. You'll have to see how it goes, but
I said, ooh, big call.
I mean, It's not really that big of a call. He went close last year for year. It was the highest player, but wasn't a fullback. I think he got third overall.
I think it's a big
So
call just because he isn't a one of those fullbacks with 5'8". I think it will be a fullback with 5'8", to be honest.
I think locks are in the conversation too, to be honest. But we'll have to see how it goes as we go on to our bench of the week. And no surprise, it's Chris Laws.
Yeah, he was really
Was
good.
great for your Cowboys.
Yeah. He played like a starting second row. He made some really good meters, and every time he got his hands on the ball, it was just he didn't do anything special. He just ran hard, really, really hard, and made a lot of meters. So I think ended up being 155.
Yeah, well, if he had started him, that could have been 410. Wow, yeah. Well, that just about wraps up our team of the week. I guess it's time to move on to our tips for this week. Got some interesting matches. Start off with actually one I'm really, really looking forward to. Tigers v Sharks. Who you have? Who you have?
I mentioned it earlier. I think this is going to be pretty ugly for the Tigers. I'm going to go Sharkies 13 plus. I think they're too good. I think the Tigers, if they wanted any chance doing well this year, they needed to name pretty much the same lineup. They didn't do any offseason signings, so they needed to name pretty much the same lineup. And what they've named is it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree. Sharks. They're looking the goods again this season.
Yeah.
They need to go one bit further. I think they can. The question is, will they? But I think this week will be business as usual for the Sharks. 13 plus. So we move on to the next game. The Knights are taking on the Raiders. Who are you tipping?
Look, I think the Knights' luck won't continue. I think that they're facing a much better opponent than they did last week. The Raiders, they're going to look to hit back. Obviously, they were premiership favourites coming into the season, and they've just fallen flat round one. They're going to want to get back on track. The coach won't be happy with their performance, and this week he will be. It'll be 13 plus. The Raiders will beat the Knights.
Yeah, well, look, what I want to say, though, is it was actually this game. It was against the Knights last season where Turbo finally hit his form after running for 86 meters for round one and then only just over 100 for round two. He ran for 110 or 111 or something in round one. I think he's in for a big performance. I just get that feeling. And I think it'll be a Raiders landslide. I think both first two games will be a landslide. As we move on to our third game of the round, the Roosters taking on the Panthers. And what are your thoughts on this one?
Look, I think this will be close, a lot closer. I think that the Panthers will. I mentioned it earlier. I don't think the Panthers will do as well this season. I think it'll be a 1-12 game. I think that'll be close. I think Roosters will look to put their foot down.
Yeah, I think Roosters are going to use this game to make a statement. I actually think it's going to be really close. I would even say it's close as like 4 or 6 points, but similar to the Panthers Bills game. But I think Panthers will just do enough to get this across. I'll say Panthers. I'm going to say Panthers on 1. We'll say it's going to be close. Extra time, why not? Chuck that in there too. Because I think that Roosters, they didn't deserve to lose by 18, and yeah, that's how I think they'll go this week. So we move on to our fourth and second last game of the round, and this was a massive game for both teams. The Broncos v the Rabbitohs. Who you have?
I got the Rabbitohs 1-12. I think it'll be close. In fact, I'll even get a more closer margin. I'll say that it'll be by 1 point. I can see this one being really close, down to the wire. Broncos will look to impress, but I think they'll fall just short.
I think I don't know, honestly. I'll say Rabbitohs, but I won't be surprised if it's the Broncos. It's just one of those games, Like, could go either way. I don't know who to tip. And trust me, I'm not getting. I probably won't get this one right. I'll say Rabbitohs. Broncos probably end up winning, but I'll say Rabbitohs because it's. I just don't. I just have no clue.
Yep.
As we move on to the final game of the round, Eels taking on the Cowboys. What are our thoughts?
I'm off. Look, I was so impressed with my team's performance on the weekend against the Broncos. I think this will be not close at all. At least I hope. I think that it'll be Cowboys to beat the Eels 13 plus. I think we've got a really good squad at the moment, and if Alofina can play to even 50% of what he played last week, then the Eels are going to be in trouble.
50% is 1.5 tries.
Yeah. Yeah.
206 points. At least, don't worry. Yeah. Look, I think the Eagles were pretty good against the Panthers. I'm gonna say it's by 12 points. I think the Cowboys will win. Not, it won't be necessarily convincingly, but it will be a win that you could look and be like, all right, that was pretty good. And I think the Eagles will come out, they'll come out trying something, but I don't think it's gonna work in the end. I'll say Cowboys by 12. Well then, that about wraps up this episode of CRL360. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Jilly, for coming on the show with me once again.
No problem.
And we'll catch you a lot later.
Bye.
See you guys.